Welcome to Carly Tackle's Ring, Part 2, Motion Sensors. I use motion sensors for two reasons. The first one is to control some of the smart lighting products that Ring has to offer, and I'll do a whole video on some of the lighting that they have. The second one is to extend the motion range on the cameras. Basically, you can have this motion sensor detect motion and tell a camera or a lighting group to turn on and start capturing. A few places that I have these motion sensors around the home. I have one on the mailbox pole aimed towards the driveway to capture any motion that might be driving in or out of the driveway. That point is a little too far out of reach of the driveway camera. So when this guy detects motion, it tells my driveway camera to start recording and capturing it. Another area I have this motion sensor is on the front of my garage. Just in case the person didn't come through the driveway or pull in with a vehicle, if they're walking by from the side, that motion sensor not only tells the driveway camera to start recording, but also the front doorbell, the video doorbell, to start capturing. So you can have one motion sensor tell multiple cameras to start recording. The other location I have, this is mostly for my smart lighting features, is on a back gate in the backyard. If someone were to come in through that gate, this motion sensor would see it and turn on all my lights, but still notify me that motion was sensed. So there's a lot of good reasons to use motion sensors. In order to use motion sensors with your cameras and smart lighting, you do need to purchase a bridge. And that's what tells you right here on this box. The bridge is a one-time purchase. It is not the alarm system. That is separate. You do not need the alarm system for this motion sensor or the cameras. The Ring bridge works with your motion sensors as well as your smart lighting. So if you're doing the smart lighting and or motion sensors, you need this bridge. And this plugs in inside of your house within the Wi-Fi range and communicates and helps all of your smart lighting devices work together. So you do need the bridge to pull this off. Let's take a closer look at this motion sensor. Comes in this box along with some tools, a screwdriver that's a flathead or a Phillips, depending on which side you want to use it. Comes with some mounting screws and drywall anchors. The setup QR code, which I always like to keep out, and then I write on there so-and-so's motion sensor so I can keep track, and I keep these in a bin with all of the other ones. Comes with an instruction guide that walks you through how to set it up and tells you again, hey, you need that Ring bridge. Walks you through how to open it and insert your batteries, as well as starting the setup on your app. So you go to setup devices and smart lights, which I will show you that in a second. And then some installation instructions depending on where you're placing it. The actual motion sensor is pretty cool. Small, has a pivoting arm. Has a QR code also on the back. It should match to the one that's on your guide. 2 screw holes for your mounting bracket, and you can undo this screw right here, and they even give you a little hole to make sure that you can access it, which I thought was pretty clever. So you can loosen it a little bit and pull it out from the ball. Might make it a tad easier to mount. I just pivot and turn it down like that to mount. I've never had to undo it, and then I can get my drill in that way. So up to you, but you can just pivot it. The snaps on the side you pull out, and that's how you get to the battery compartment. This is weather resistant, so this is meant for outdoors. Kind of get a little rubber ring there that you can see. Takes 3 AAA batteries, and keep in mind your climate will determine how often you have to change them. I can go months in the summer and springtime, but when it starts to get cold, I let them batteries die because I know winter's just hard on them and I go through them. So I just let them die, and then when it starts warming up, I replace them. Up to you, depending on how vital this is to your security system, if you need to keep up on those batteries. Place your AAA batteries in there, and you just snap it. And you want to make sure you're snapped tightly because it is water resistant, so you got to give it a good snap on the sides and make sure it's lined up. See, you can kind of see that? Nice and snug. And then you can pivot. So that is everything that is in the box. Let's go ahead and get this set up on our phone. The Ring app is available for Android or iOS. It's a free app. If you don't already have it, you want to download that app. If you already have a Ring app, you'll see all of your devices and log in. If you don't, you can set up a free account. You're taken to your home page to start with all of your devices. To set up a new device, like the instructions tell you, you go to your menu options and you touch devices. This will show you all your current devices that you have set up with your Ring account. At the bottom is a set up a device. Click that. Now it may not appear obvious which one you click on. To me, I would think motion sensors and security cameras go together, but it's under the smart lighting. That's how you set up motion sensors. Because this is all part of the smart lighting, but you can also use it for cameras. And that was my first use, was setting this up to trigger cameras to record. When you click on smart lighting, it'll ask you to select your address of your location of your Ring devices. It should be preset if you have an account. If you don't see your address, you can add a new location. I'm going to click continue. It's going to ask you to scan the QR code. You can scan it off of your device if you haven't already installed it, or you can also use the instructions. One thing I love about Ring is it helps you set it up. It wants me to insert the batteries and get it started. So that's what I'm going to do, and it shows you even how to open it. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? So I'm going to install my batteries as instructed here. Make sure I got them all the right direction and they're in there. Give it a second and the Ring app will automatically find it since we already scanned, and it does appear there is an update for it. So we'll give that a second. I'll go ahead and put it on the back while we wait. Once the update's finished, it's going to talk to you about lighting groups. Motion sensors are not individual devices like a camera. They belong to a group. And lighting that is in that group will work with that motion sensor. For example, I have a group for the front yard. I have a separate group for the backyard. And I believe I even have a group for my garden. These motion sensors that are in these group will work with the lighting that's also in that group automatically. Your cameras don't belong to groups, so you will link them later. That says, hey, if this guy detects motion, turn on this camera, and it's the specific devices that it controls. If you want to learn more about grouping, there's a video. You could just hit play on your screen and it'll walk you through that. I'm going to click Add to Group. Here's my existing groups. I have the front porch, the backyard, and the garden. Again, you can name them whatever you want and set them up and organize them with whatever lights and cameras you want to do. This is just my preference based off of some of the lightings that I have. You can create a new one, or you can just select an existing group. So I have 2 motion sensors in the front porch, 1 in the backyard. I don't think I have 1 in the garden. And you can always move them around later, so don't worry about that. I'm going to do the backyard just for fun here, and you can name it. I always like to give them specific names. That way as I add, I know which motion sensor it is. And so you want to give it a name that's specific to its location to make it easier to find. hit continue. Now I already have the smart bridge plugged in and connected to the Wi-Fi. Again, it plugs internally inside an outlet and then it connects to the Wi-Fi in your home. And to set that up is very easy. Most of the Ring product devices set up the same way. Wow. Even my Amazon found it right away because Ring is smoothly integrated with She Who Must Not Be Named because Amazon owns Ring. So it makes that whole process seamless. So now since you're ready to install your motion sensor, I can watch the video if I need help, or I can just hit continue. Your setup is complete and I could keep adding other devices, or I could say I'm done at the very bottom here. What's remaining is setting up our motion sensitivity and a few other motion senses, and then possibly linking them to devices, which I want to show you. So let's click on the motion settings. It'll take you to a place where you can control all of the motion for that group. You'll see all of the motion capturing devices in that group. I have 2 of these motion sensors in the backyard, this new one I just added, and the one on the gate. I also have a solar motion sensor. These I have along a fence that provide light as well as motion. And I'll go more into this in my video on smart lighting for Ring. These are really cool. It still gives you the same functionality of the motion, but adds lighting, and if you're in where the sun shines, it will keep your battery charged. You also see I have some other lights and motion sensors. I have a shed light that has a motion sensor and its own lighting system, as well as a catio light that serves as a motion sensor and a light, and then another one of those solar lights. So all of these are motion sensing devices, and they can be used to trigger lighting or other cameras. So you have plenty of options in the motion sensor. This guy is by far the least expensive because this is all it does is motion, where these other ones do lighting as well. Basically, it's saying, hey, all of these things you have, they're all enabled to detect motion. If you don't want a particular device to detect motion, you can just slide it to the off and it will no longer detect motion. But I figured if you are paying money for a motion sensor, why would you disable it? But it's up to you. You might have a reason and you have the ability to do that. So let's click continue. This is adjusting your sensitivity. Play it by ear. If you're getting too many notifications, you can adjust it. If you're not getting enough, you can adjust it. Whatever you set, you can change later. So don't feel like you're making a mistake in the setup. I always start at the middle, and then I see what happens later. Click save. Now my motion settings are done, and I have a green check mark. Now let's go to link devices. This is a really cool feature with Ring. All of their products are linked together. Their video doorbells, their cameras, their lighting. They can all be connected if you want. So let's add some link devices. By default, the motion sensor will turn on lighting in the group that you assign. So you don't have to tell it, hey, motion sensor that I just added to the backyard, when you detect motion, turn on the lights in the backyard. That's automatic by setting up groups. If you want to impact things outside of that group, you can do that by selecting it here. You see I have my cameras. These don't belong to groups. Again, these are individual devices. So if I want, when this thing to detect motion, to start recording on my backyard camera, I can click it. It also warns you when you do this, it can potentially drain your battery faster because your camera is recording more. This camera is plugged in, so I don't care. Got it. You can do this one as well. So you can do all of your cameras, including your front doorbell, which is a great feature if you're worried your doorbell's not capturing, or you want to make sure you're capturing motion that may be a little farther outside of your reach. Prevent those packages from being stolen. This is a great thing to set up. You also see my other groups. my front porch and my garden. Remember, I put this in the backyard. I can still control all of the lights in the front porch if this detects motion, even though it's not in that group. So I really like that feature as well. That is all I really want to be turned on for this particular motion sensor, but you can see how you can get a lot of fun and really grow the whole Ring product family. I'm going to hit continue. And we are saved. Continue. And I'm done. Now you're back to your home page, and anytime that detects motion, those cameras will start to record. If you ever want to get back to those settings, you need to go to the menu option, go to devices, scroll down to where you have your lights. Remember, it belongs to the lights. And I put this one in the backyard. So when I click on that, now I see all of my backyard devices. And one is out of batteries, that's why I said this is offline. And I can go to my settings and work on light schedules and different things, motion sensitives, groups. But this is how you would get to the individual device. This is the one we just added. And you can check on its device health. Make sure it's connected. The biggest thing I use device health for is your battery. Especially ones that take AAAs and D batteries. The ones that don't have the ability to recharge on their own. I typically watch that. If they do die or are really close, you normally will get a notification letting you know that your battery is low. And when you don't charge it up in time or replacement time, it will go offline and let you know that it is no longer connected. Thanks for watching Carly Tackles Ring Part 2 Motion Sensors. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you'd like to see more videos similar to this and more in the Ring series, please subscribe to my channel. Carly Tackles DIY, tools and gadgets, tips and tricks. And remember to hit that bell to receive notifications when I release new content.